It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? I am back. It is Tuesday. It is a Tuesday edition of the Geno Jones Show. So I come to you live like I am right now. If you're watching me right at this second, well, no, you could really, let me say it this way. If it is 6:31, if you live on the East Coast, if it's 5:31 p.m. in Chicago, if you're out in LA, if it's 3:31 p.m., you're watching me live. But if not, that's okay too. But I actually come to you live Monday through Friday, like I was just saying. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like and share. Or, let me get it right. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like and share this and every episode. They say subscribe, like, and share. I say subscribe, share, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. So let's get right into today's show. Well, first of all, I want to send out get well wishes to our Vice President, Kamala Harris. So she tested positive for COVID-19. Good news, great news. She's asymptomatic. Hate that she came down with it. Glad that she's asymptomatic, which means she's not showing any symptoms, which is good. Also, some great news. According to her office, she has not been near President Biden in close contact with President Biden lately because she's been traveling, doing vice presidential things. So get well, Vice President Harris. All right, keep getting that ginger and like me. I season my food with ginger, like actual ginger, the powder in powder form, and turmeric. So I use it to season my food. So keep taking that ginger, which is really good. They say, I'm not a doctor, so consult your doctor first. But I hear, and just for me, it just seems like it helps my immune system. And I talked to some other people, it's pretty good. Apparently, there's some studies behind it. So just saying, it won't hurt. Ginger's good for you. So get your ginger and your turmeric. Definitely turmeric. I know it definitely will help with inflammation because it worked for me. So I can just co-sign, but everybody's different. Happy birthday. Yes. Shout out to all my Tauruses celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to Miss Tion Watkins. You're saying, who is Tion Watkins? Come on, TLC. She's the T in TLC, T-Boz. So T-Boz is 52 today. Happy birthday, T-Boz. And R&B singer, my man, Avant. You can read my mind. And he remade a song called My First Love. I think he did that with Kiki Wyatt. So shout out to Avant. Happy birthday, Avant. Avant today is 44. So happy birthday to Avant. And I want to say shout out and happy birthday to all my Tauruses out there watching the show. Even if you're not watching the show, shout out to my April babies, my Tauruses. Yes, it is our time to shine. Yeah, it is. How about that? All right. So now let me kind of pick up where I left off last night. So South Carolina Senator, U.S. Senator from the state of South Carolina, Mr. Tim Scott, said that critical race theory teaches kids that they are oppressors or victims. Okay. So let me just start off. First of all, that's a lie. Yes, it's a lie. Senator Scott, now, deep down inside, you know it's a lie. You know it's a lie. All right? That's the one thing about politicians and just politics that I despise. That in the quest for power, that people will just outright lie. And it's like, hey, do what you got to do. You lie. You lie to win. You lie to maintain, to gain more power, to keep power. But come on, Tim Scott, you know that no. First of all, kids are not being taught critical race theory. Now, once again, for those who are either uneducated, ill-informed, or just ignorant, critical race theory is a theory that is taught in law schools. There is no elementary school, there's no middle school, there's no high school, there's no undergrad program in America that teaches the theory of critical race theory. Now, what is critical race? What is it actually? First of all, it's taught in law school. It's a law school concept and a theory and a class where it teaches the intersection, how, over the history of this country, how the legal system has been used to write laws, to pass laws, and how laws have been used to oppress African Americans primarily, and people of color, our Native American indigenous brothers and sisters. An example, Jim Crow laws were written, passed, and signed off on by the Congress and the president. Jim Crow laws made segregation legal, made African American people in America second-class citizens. It basically said that they had no rights. There were no laws that applied to white people that applied to black people. And that black people had no rights that white people had to respect, or pay attention to, or observe. Jim Crow laws, you had to drink separate water fountains. You had to use separate bathrooms, colored water fountains, white bathrooms, white only water, like the little, water fountains where you drink water, not water coolers, but the water fountains. Restaurants, white only restaurants, white only hotels. Black folks had to sit in the back of the bus. You couldn't sit in the front. And if you were sitting down and a white person got on the bus, you were supposed to get up and give the white person a seat. Really, what are we doing? So, that critical race theory explains how the legal system and laws were written and used to oppress, basically, to make slavery, and we know slavery was legal. Slavery and racism. It was codified in law. The original Constitution said that black people in America were 3/5 human. Really? Just think about the arrogance that a group of people could sit around and say, we're going to create this powerful legal document. The official legal document, the foundation, politically and legally, of this country. But we're going to say that there's a group of y'all, we don't even consider you human. Okay, we'll give you 3/5. All right? Y'all like maybe, 60% human? 65% human? Really? Who does that? So first of all, that is the whole concept about what critical race theory is taught in law school. Okay? So it didn't teach that kids today are oppressors. But what it does teach in law school is how, once again, the law was used to oppress black people and people of color. Because, listen, some people who are considered white, you had laws that oppressed them when they first came, that discriminated against, that was very racist against the Irish and the Italians and the Jews and Germans and Eastern Europeans and the Chinese. Yes, and our Hispanic brothers and sisters. Okay, but the Jim Crow laws were specifically written to oppress African Americans, to legalize slavery, to legalize racism. As a matter of fact, if you Google the Nuremberg laws, so these are laws that were created in Germany during Nazi Germany. These were the laws that were created to oppress and eventually to allow the murder and the slaughter of 6 million Jews in Germany and Europe in the 30s legal. So where did they get that? Where did Hitler get the idea for these Nuremberg laws? Wait a minute. He saw he read and saw the Jim Crow laws. He's like, that's a good idea. Why don't I just take the blueprint for what America's doing and let me just give it a different name? And that's exactly what Hitler did. So critical race theory in law school teaches how the law was used to oppress black people. So critical race theory doesn't teach kids that they are oppressors or that they are victims, but what teaching the accurate history of America. Yes, if you're going to tell it all. If you can't tell the story and only tell the part of the story that makes you look good, if you've done some horrible things, that's part of your story. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you can't erase it. You try to erase it, and that's what politicians and people who really would love for America to be able to kind of go back. They would love to have like modern, and states are doing it, voter suppression laws and basically oppressing women. Because you know women couldn't vote, women couldn't vote. Do you know women could not buy a home on their own without having their husband or a man co-sign for it. Up until the early 70s, women couldn't have their own credit. Women couldn't purchase a home here in America. Yes, you can Google that. So you have people, basically, I'm just gonna call out the racists and the white nationalists and the Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazis, this white racist nationalism, this radical right-wing racist group. They call it radical left, the racist radical right. I'm just gonna make it simple for you to understand. And it's a movement not just here in America, in Europe, in France. You had their, like I said yesterday, their female version of Donald Trump, Marie Le Pen. She lost to the current president and prime minister, Macron. But so you've got that movement, you've got this this very racist, right-wing, white nationalist, basically hate movement based on this made-up concept that's not real of whiteness. Because whiteness is not real. There's no biological markers that will tell you whether or not you are white. We talked about that. It was made up. It's made up in the late 1670s to basically pit one group of people against another group of people that's a little darker, that comes from a different part of the world. So a small handful of people could maintain social, political, and economic power. Kind of sounds like what's happening today. Hello! Elon Musk is going to purchase Twitter for $44 billion. Now, he claims that he believes in free speech. But when people have used free speech to criticize Elon Musk, he sued them. So he believes in free speech, unless it's free speech he doesn't like. Then he's got a whole different attitude. I digress. I'm not going to make this episode about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. Because just like black folks, and black Twitter has really made Twitter, let's just be honest about it. Let's keep it at 1,000. It's just like we've made Twitter and Facebook. Guess what? It is time for black folks. Let's create our own version of Twitter and invite, white folks of all different ethnic groups and Hispanic groups. Come on, look, if you don't want the racism and the white nationalism and the sexism and the misogyny and the homophobia and the anti-Muslim bigotry and racism, the anti-immigrant racism, come on, we got a new platform. So shout out to all of my black billionaires and millionaires. 1 out of 50 African Americans are millionaires. By the way, in case you didn't know that, yes, there's a lot of black folks doing very well. But there are a lot of people of all races that are struggling now. Black, Hispanic brothers and sisters, Native American brothers and sisters, Hispanic, and a lot of poor and working class white people. As a matter of fact, the poor white folks outnumber black people, outnumber all other ethnic groups in America. And see, what those few people that control the power, the resources, the political, economic, social, the media, what they don't want to happen is if these poor and working class white people, if they ever wake up and realize that they have more in common with a black person than they do with an Elon Musk, a lot of stuff will change. A lot of stuff. Because the Elon Musk's, the multi-billionaires, that class, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, or the folks that want to act like they on that level. They are not concerned. They are not concerned about poor or working class, anybody, including poor working class white folks. They don't give a damn about you. They don't care. These politicians are showing you that. They are. Child tax credit took millions of children out of poverty, including millions of white children. White politicians, the radical right-wing racists, didn't vote for it. They could, folks, but a lot of white people, a lot of you all vote against your own interest because they keep using I call it catnip. Oh no, that's not, because catnip repels. Let me see. It's like a sugar cookie. It's like, you know what, they know you can't resist the racism because it has been ingrained in every institution in America. So we just have to be honest about it. All right? It has been, people talk about indoctrination. Listen, white America has been told that they are the superior group, that everything should be their way always. And the few powerful white people that have told poor and working class white people that, but at the same time, economically deny them and oppress them, they still, you still have a hard time. All these poor states, I'm in South Carolina. There's a lot of poverty among rural white people here in this state. So it's not just black people. Kentucky, West Virginia, Mississippi, Louisiana. You want to see some poverty? You want to see some poor white folks? Just take a drive just up and down the interstate in some of these southern states I just mentioned and get off in some of these small towns. You'll see poverty. So why is that? You've got these politicians that look like you because they don't give a damn about you. They want your vote, and they know the one way they can surely get your attention is to wave that racism flag. Oh, the reason that you can't get health insurance, the reason you can't get dental care, that you're missing half of your teeth, the reason you can't get a good education, your kids can't go to a good school, the reason you've been living in this trailer park, the reason that your job, the plant that you were working at was shut down and shipped to Central America or to Southeast Asia is because of somebody that looks like me, because of a black person or Hispanic brother and sister or a gay person or a lesbian person or a trans person. The reason you haven't gotten a raise in 30 years. The reason they're making you believe the reason that you are in the economic situation that you are in, that you can't afford to make enough money to even join your company's 401k plan is because of somebody that looks like me. When the only people that are making that decision are people that look just like you, to my white brothers and sisters in rural America and not so rural America, poor and working class white brothers and sisters. Not to mention the 53% of white women that voted for Donald Trump. And now that whole MAGA movement including the MAGA judges on the Supreme Court, are about to strike down Roe versus Wade. The Supreme Court decision from 1973 that said abortions were legal. So now when when the Supreme Court basically repeals Roe versus Wade, and all these states have already gone full in to basically do everything they can to make abortion illegal. In Texas, a woman had an abortion, and they actually put her in jail. Now they had to let her out. Is that what we're doing? We're locking up the women. Oh, if you were raped, or if you were raped by your uncle or your stepfather or maybe your father, that's too bad. Yeah, don't punish the baby. You gotta have the baby. Really? Men wouldn't tolerate that. So these same women, white women, they want to control you and your bodies. If they had it their way, they would go back to the days where you couldn't buy a home on your own, where you couldn't have credit, where they could pay you whatever the hell they wanted to pay you, where you'd have pay discrimination, gender pay discrimination. Yeah. So once again, to understand, so all that has to do with people who claim, critical race theory is going to teach children to be oppressors, that they are oppressors or victims. No. So those laws mean they don't want the truth about America's. They don't want America's racist past, because the foundation of America was built, let's just be honest about it. For all the wonderful things that this country has done, the foundation of this country was built on what? The foundation of this country. The economic foundation was basically built on, we kidnapped and brought a whole group of people against their will to another country to work for free, to generate money to make a small handful of people wealthy. Where is that cool? Just think about it. Can you imagine if you just flipped it? Just imagine if a small handful of black people, it went into Europe, to France or Germany, or to Great Britain, or to Finland or Sweden or Switzerland, and basically kidnapped a group of white people against their will, put them in slave ships and in chains, and brought them to America, made them work for free to generate wealth for a small handful of black people. And that the black people, they raped and murdered and lynched the white people. Just reverse that story and make the black people the oppressors. So the reason that the accurate history, because it's not just black history, that's American history. So why would you not want young children to learn what this country has done? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Why you want them to learn about the horrors of racism and of slavery, the slave trade, the separation, the intentional separation, children who were sold off, young girls, not even teenagers, that were sold to men who raped them and impregnated them against their own will. Yeah, babies, preteens. That's part of America's history. So why would I want any young child, but why would I want a young white child to learn that's part of America's history? And I've said it before, because I want them to learn that, not saying, because I don't want you to make the same mistake that your ancestors. No, you are not guilty for the sins of your ancestors, but you do have a responsibility to make sure that you do not commit the same crimes and that you don't continue the same hatred and legacy of racism and everything that's attached to it, and hate. You have a responsibility to end that nonsense. So we teach you what happened, hopes that it will tap into your sense of humanity and compassion and empathy, and to realize this whole race, concept of race, is a con game. It's made up. It's not real. In biology, there's no definition of whiteness. If you get a DNA test, it won't tell you how white you are. It will tell you what part of Europe, primarily, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, the Mediterranean, maybe Asia, what part of the world your ancestors came from. You have German ancestry, Italian ancestry, Eastern European, Slavic ancestry, ancestors from the Nordic areas, that's Finland, Sweden, Great Britain. But it won't say white. DNA won't come back. African American ancestry, Africa is a continent. It's not a country. It'll say, okay, what country from Africa? It'll show, I'm sure mine will say somewhere from Ghana, Ghanaian, Nigerian, Cameroon, the Congo, all these myriad, Egypt, all these countries on the continent of Africa. Not gonna say, oh, you're 98% white. No, not gonna do that. Not gonna say 95% black. No. So whiteness is just made up. It's made up BS. So Senator Tim Scott, look, I get it. You're up for re-election. Shout out to your opponent. She's got a surprise for you. She's going to be our next United States Senator from the state of South Carolina. Crystal Matthews, who hope to have on the show, back on the show next week. Senator Tim Scott and all the people that's perpetrating this lie. So if anybody believes that critical race theory teaches young white children that they are oppressors and that young black children that they are victims, they are lying. And they are lying either intentionally to go ahead and to continue to stoke this ignorance and the fear, this whole race, the fear of the others. Really, which is feeding into racism. That's the bottom line. And that's why people create these, oh, I gotta scare, you're gonna harm the poor white kids. What do you think about the poor black kids? That for decades, the accurate part of their history and this country's history was ignored. How do you think young black kids feel? You have teachers that try to reenact certain things in history and have black children dress up as slaves, and you had lessons and to where and teachers reenact scenes of where white children are selling black children, reenacting slavery area. How the hell do you think the black kids felt about that? You all were okay about that. I didn't hear a peep out of none of you, or very few of you. So stop lying, Senator Tim Scott, because you know better, especially as a black man. But once again, one of the greatest tricks that racists and white nationalists, those who want to promote this racist ideology of white nationalism, one of their tricks is, let's find a black person to say all the racist stuff that we really want to say, even though now they're comfortable with it. Because after Orange Hitler, it's like, hey, we just say the quiet part out loud. Yeah, we think you all are inferior and monkeys and you got a tail and all that other kind of crazy stuff. But sometimes, some folks, some races, they don't like to be called racist. So they don't like to be called what they really are. So they're like, well, let's find a black person to say all the racist things that we really want to say. But if we can find a black person, we can say, see, we're not racist. Look, that black person said the same thing we said. They believe the same thing that we believe. Gotcha. You know better. Stop. Stop lying. All right? So, young white children, you are not responsible for slavery. but you are responsible to make sure that we don't repeat it. As you become an adult, you are going to be responsible to make sure that you don't continue to repeat or continue the hate and the racism that caused my people so much pain. Because you wouldn't want it to happen to you. And I wouldn't want it, and I wouldn't let it happen to you. Because I see your humanity. At the end of the day, the only true race is the human race. If we're just going to be scientifically accurate about that. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central, 3:30 p.m. in Chicago, please, or 3:30 p.m. I should say. Out on the West Coast, out in the city of Angels, Los Angeles, 1:30 if you're out there chilling in Hawaii. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like and share. Subscribe, like, and share, or I say subscribe, share, and like, and binge watch all my back episodes. And tell everybody you know, everybody you like and love, everybody that you can't stand, hate, doesn't matter. Strangers, aliens, tell them all. This is the best and the best show in the business, the Geno Jones Show. Also, I want to shout out the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show, Markel Bailey, Kelby Cutting Up on Instagram, KELBECUTTINUP. Check out you see his work, because he is the official hairstylist and the barber for the Geno Jones Show. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant, the official stylist for the Geno Jones Show, along with Bruce Gage. Allie Jones, fashion designer, up-and-coming, rising superstar, fashion designer, fashion design major at my alma mater, Columbia College, Chicago. Check out Allie Jones's collection on Instagram. See her drip. It's amazing. Her fashions. Translate that for some of you all. On Instagram. So actually it's Lexi, Lexxie, Lexi with 2 X's, .Nicole, underscore that line below, designs. And Bruce Gage, so it's Lexi with 2 X's, .Nicole, underscore, designs. Bruce Gage, just search on Instagram, Bruce Gage. You just do that Instagram search. Gage, Gage. Actually, it's Miglio di Mario Uomo. It's the name of his personal collection, a clothing line for men and women now. MIGILIODIMARIOUOMO. That's MIGILIODIMARIOUOMO. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for watching, Mother. I love you more than life itself. I can see your message. She said, I don't think, yes, you were able to log into your message. I'm reading that one. I don't know how many you put in there. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Go back and binge watch all my back episodes. And if you came into this episode halfway through, go back and check it all out. Thank you for watching, everybody. One last thing before I get out of here, as always, please be blessed. Let's pray for peace.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.